Good evening, dear listener. It's late, the world outside is quiet, and perhaps you're tucked under your blanket, the night wrapping softly around you. Tonight, I want to take you far away, back to the year 1800, when wooden ships with billowing sails ruled the waves and the Royal Navy carried the weight of empires. Imagine the gentle rocking beneath you, the salt scent of the sea drifting through the air, and the hum of men at work, hundreds of lives depending on a single captain's choices. As you listen, let your mind drift with the sails, let the rhythm of the ocean slow your thoughts. If you enjoy this journey, please like, comment, and subscribe, and share it with someone who loves history as much as you do. Tonight, we begin a story of courage, patience, and the quiet strength of men who lived and died upon the waves. You awaken slowly, the ship gently rocking beneath you like a cradle. The cabin is narrow, the low beams close overhead, the scent of polished wood mingling with the tang of salt air. Light filters through a small porthole, illuminating charts and logbooks scattered across a desk. Somewhere above, the crew stirs, hammocks creaking and muffled voices drifting through the timbers. You stretch cautiously, feeling the weight of your responsibility settle in your chest. This vessel is more than wood and sail. It is a world of choices, where every decision echoes across every deck. Rising, you savor the warmth and quiet of the cabin, the brief solace before the day begins. A knock interrupts your thoughts. Your steward brings a basin of warm water, a small luxury that separates you from the men below, yet reminds you that privilege carries duty. You splash your face slowly, letting the rhythm of the ocean calm your mind, preparing for the endless responsibilities that await. The steward bows slightly, stepping softly into your cabin. "Captain, sir," he whispers, carrying the basin of warm water. It is 5 bells of the morning watch, early but customary, and the day stretches before you, filled with unspoken challenges. You rise and wash deliberately, feeling the small comforts seep into your senses. Below decks, men live cramped in hammocks, the scent of tar and sweat mingling with salt, no warmth, no privacy. Here, in this small space, the water warms your body and steadies your mind. Outside, the sails sway gently, and the ship creaks like a living organism. Even in quiet moments, your mind drifts to reports, provisions, and the health of your crew. You watch the sunlight filter across the cabin floor, imagining each barrel, rope, and man playing their role in this intricate floating city. The steward leaves, and the room is quiet once more, save for the gentle creak of the planks and the subtle rhythm of the ocean. The uniform waits neatly folded, blue coat, gold epaulets, crisp white breeches, and a bicorn hat resting like a crown. Dressing becomes a ritual, each movement deliberate. You fasten each button slowly, smooth each crease, letting the fabric settle into place as though it carries the invisible weight of command. Outside, the wind stirs softly against the sails, the ship alive beneath you. This uniform is more than clothing. It is a symbol of authority, a quiet signal to the men below that order and discipline will guide them. You adjust your hat and feel the mantle of command settle across your shoulders, the gold glinting faintly in the morning light. For a moment, the world pauses. No cannon smoke, no shouted orders, only the slow, measured awareness of responsibility. Every gesture, every detail of your appearance radiates calm confidence, setting the tone for the hours that will stretch ahead, carrying every man aboard toward the challenges of the day. The table is laid, eggs fresh from the ship's small coop, warm bread, and a cup of tea. The steward serves each dish with quiet precision. You eat slowly, savoring the flavors, mindful of the men below chewing their ship's biscuits, hardened by weeks at sea. This moment is both nourishment and reflection. As the ocean sways, your mind traces the day ahead, reports from officers, inspection of sails, charts of enemy waters, and the maintenance of discipline. The contrast between your comfort and the crew's modest fare reminds you of the responsibilities that come with rank. You sip your tea, feeling the warmth seep into your chest, and let the calm of the moment prepare your mind for decisions that may ripple across the decks, decisions that carry life and death, success and failure. The ship rocks gently, the wind sings softly through the rigging, and for these few minutes, you are alone with your thoughts, the quiet before the day's orchestration begins. Your first lieutenant enters, his steps quiet, delivering the morning news. The wind favors the southwest, provisions are sound, and water in the forward casks begins to show faint green traces. You listen slowly, letting the words settle like gentle waves across your consciousness. The health of the crew, the state of the ship, the position of the enemy, all fold together into a delicate calculus of command. Every observation matters. You nod, acknowledging each point, imagining the ropes, barrels, and men below decks. Outside, the sails sway, the ship humming softly, a vessel of wood and wind responding to your decisions. The day stretches before you, filled with quiet tasks and grand responsibilities. Even now, before orders are given, your presence as captain shapes the rhythm of the ship. Calm observation, measured thought, and gentle authority are the tools that will guide hundreds of men through the challenges of this morning and beyond. The cabin door opens and you step onto the quarterdeck. Sunlight dances across polished wood, the scent of salt air filling your lungs. Crew members glance up, saluting, faces etched with expectation. You acknowledge them with a slow nod, letting your presence project calm and command. The ship hums beneath your feet, ropes taut, sails catching the morning breeze. Every subtle movement, every measured glance, communicates authority. The crew responds not just to words but to the confidence you radiate. Time stretches, the ocean rocking in gentle rhythm, while your mind considers each detail. The state of the sails, the position of the men, the wind across the rigging. Here, at this quiet moment before the day's chaos, you feel the weight of command settle fully, and with it, a serene focus that will carry you through the hours ahead. All hands to stations, you call, your voice calm but carrying across the deck. The crew moves with practiced precision. Ropes are hauled, sails adjusted, the ship responding like a living organism. You watch slowly, noting small errors, smooth execution, the rhythm of coordinated effort. Observation is key. Patience is essential. Outside, the wind tugs at the canvas, the ocean whispers beneath the hull. Each command, each measured action, ensures that the vessel moves gracefully, that men remain safe, and that the ship stands ready for the trials to come. Even in motion, there is stillness in your mind, a slow, deliberate awareness that the harmony of the crew depends on quiet authority, calm observation, and careful guidance. Through the spyglass, a distant smudge sharpens into another ship. You inhale slowly, letting the sight settle, aware of the calm before potential action. At first, it seems a small merchant vessel, yet subtle hints suggest more. The sails, the hull, the angle, all whisper of possibilities and risks. Your mind traces the paths of wind and waves, considers distance and speed. Outside, the crew moves, adjusting sails, hauling ropes, all unaware yet of the quiet calculation unfolding on the quarterdeck. The ocean hums beneath you, carrying both opportunity and danger. Each moment stretches gently, and you weigh the choice. Approach, observe, or prepare for battle. Even now, the rhythm of command flows like the tide, steady and unbroken. Orders are issued slowly, deliberately, the crew taking position with quiet efficiency. You consider distance, wind, and ship movement, each calculation gentle but exact. The deck hums softly beneath your feet, ropes taut, sails full. The potential for conflict simmers, yet there is serenity in preparedness. Each man knows his role, each cannon waits quietly, each marine positions himself in the tops. Calm observation, patience, and awareness are your tools, and the rhythm of the ship, the creak of timber, and the sway of the ocean reinforce your focus. This is the dance of preparation, a slow, deliberate orchestration where measured thought guides swift action yet to come. Through the spyglass, the distant vessel begins to take shape. It is no mere merchant. The hull sits lower, heavier, and gunports glint along its side. The calm rhythm of the sea contrasts with the sudden tension in your chest. Each decision now carries weight beyond observation. You note wind direction, angle of approach, and the number of men visible on deck. The crew below moves in practiced silence, unaware of the full scope of the danger. You let your mind trace each possible maneuver, each possible outcome. Patience is your ally, haste your enemy. Outside, the sails ripple gently, carrying the ship toward a confrontation that will test skill, nerve, and endurance. You breathe slowly, letting the quiet before battle steady your hand and mind. Gun crews, prepare the starboard battery, you call, calm and deliberate. The men respond with measured efficiency, hauling powder, ramming shot, and swabbing barrels. The smell of salt and tar mixes with the faint metallic tang of lead. Every movement is precise, a dance repeated countless times yet never mechanical. Observation dominates over impulse. You watch carefully, noting positions, posture, and readiness. The ocean sways, the ship creaks, and the sails flutter softly. Even now, long before the first shot, the crew's preparation is an expression of discipline, trust, and anticipation, all under the careful eye of a captain who must measure patience against opportunity. Minutes stretch, the distant ship growing larger in the horizon. You stand at the quarterdeck, steadying yourself against the gentle roll of the vessel. The creak of timbers, the flapping of sails, the faint murmur of ropes through blocks compose a symphony of quiet tension. Your mind traces calculations of distance, firepower, and speed, every movement of the enemy anticipated. Below decks, the crew senses urgency yet trusts your authority. Calmness is contagious. Even as the risk grows, your measured presence steadies every man aboard. The ocean seems infinite, a vast, indifferent stage for the coming trial of skill, courage, and will. The enemy holds its course, unaware of your observation. You give the order to bear slowly, adjusting sails, keeping a safe but close distance. The ship hums beneath your feet, the ropes taut, the decks alive with quiet purpose. Men move deliberately, some hauling ropes, others readying guns, all synchronized under the invisible rhythm of command. Each small adjustment of the helm, each gentle shift of canvas, nudges you toward advantage. The wind presses softly against the sails, carrying your intentions forward. You feel the weight of every choice, every nuance of timing, as the quiet anticipation of engagement grows in the salt-filled morning air. A closer look through the spyglass reveals the enemy's true strength. Gun ports open, heavy sails stretched, a line of iron ready to thunder. The realization presses upon you, yet your calm persists. You note their weaknesses, the angle of approach, possible blind spots, and the potential to exploit the wind. Decisions that would shake lesser men now unfold as a slow, deliberate process. Observation, calculation, and patience are your allies. The ocean rocks gently, the ship responds with grace, and the crew trusts in your measured authority, unaware of the intricate mental work guiding every movement of this vessel. Prepare for close action, you order quietly, deliberately. Grappling hooks are brought forward, cutlasses and pistols distributed. Marines move into the tops, scanning the enemy deck with disciplined focus. The preparation is slow, methodical, every detail considered. The ocean hums beneath, the wind pressing against the sails, the ropes taut with expectation. Even before the clash, tension runs like a slow current across the deck. You watch each man, each movement, ensuring readiness. Calmness and focus dominate, the quiet before chaos, the patience before the storm of battle. A cannon thunders from the opposing ship, and the ship shudders beneath your feet. Smoke curls across the deck, mingling with the scent of gunpowder and salt. Splinters fly, men duck instinctively, but your voice calls steady orders. Casualties are reported calmly, damage assessed with precision. Despite the shock, the rhythm of preparation, the discipline of the crew, and the steady hand of command maintain order. Even as danger surrounds you, you breathe slowly, your mind calculating the optimal moment for response. The ocean carries the shock, the ship rocks gently, and the crew trusts your measured guidance to navigate the peril. You issue the command for return fire, timing each gun sequentially to maximize effect. The ship responds with controlled power, each barrel a precise instrument of strategy. Splinters scatter across the deck, smoke curls lazily in the wind, and the scent of powder and salt fills the air. Men work in practiced rhythm, each movement deliberate. The ocean rocks, sails strain, and the quiet tension persists. Every action is measured, deliberate, and slow, a dance of patience and timing. You remain calm, steadying the crew, observing every reaction, and adjusting your tactics with a quiet mind honed by years of practice and the persistent rhythm of the sea. As smoke drifts and the enemy begins to falter, you stand quietly at the quarterdeck. The ship rocks gently, ropes humming softly, the sails catching wind with measured grace. Your mind notes casualties, gun damage, and crew performance, each observation folding into the next. The quiet moments between cannon fire allow reflection, calm assessment, and deliberate planning. The ocean stretches infinitely, the sun glinting off waves, and the rhythm of command flows like the tide itself. Patience, observation, and measured authority dominate, guiding every man, every decision, and every movement across this floating world. You scan the deck slowly, observing the men with quiet precision. Every movement, every stance is a clue to their readiness. Some faces are pale with fear, others set with determination. Each man responds differently to tension, yet all are united by training and trust in your authority. The ocean hums beneath the hull, the sails flutter softly, and the ropes creak in rhythm with the ship's gentle sway. You note who may falter under pressure, who thrives, and make mental adjustments for orders to come. Even in the quiet moments, the subtle dance of leadership continues, a slow, careful orchestration of men and motion. Through the spyglass, the enemy vessel inches closer. You measure distance, factoring wind speed, sail angle, and hull weight. Each decision is deliberate, slow, and careful. Timing is everything. You consider cannon range, potential maneuvers, and the readiness of the gun crews. Outside, the gentle swells of the sea rock the ship, a constant reminder of forces beyond your control. Every element, the wind, the waves, the men, the guns, must be balanced patiently. This is the quiet genius of command, the art of waiting, observing, and calculating in harmony with the ocean. The first salvo erupts across the water. Smoke curls around the deck, mingling with the scent of salt and powder. Splinters fly, men duck, but your voice rings calm and steady. Orders flow precisely, guiding each crew member. The ocean rocks gently beneath, carrying the vibrations of impact. You observe damage with a measured eye, noting every detail. The chaos is slow in its own way, each explosion followed by the steady rhythm of preparation and response. Even amid violence, the discipline and timing of your crew reflect the patience of careful leadership. Between volleys, you scan the opposing deck. Movements are jerky, coordination faltering. Officers are scattered, men show signs of fear. You note their vulnerabilities slowly, mapping potential advantage. Outside, the wind flutters the sails, the ocean crests in gentle waves, and your ship responds to subtle adjustments. Patience dominates your thought, every observation deliberate. You know that timing will turn these small insights into decisive action. Calm calculation becomes as powerful as firepower in this age of sail. The Marines move into the tops, rifles steady, eyes trained on the enemy officers. You direct quietly, deliberately, positioning them for maximum effect. The gentle sway of the ship requires constant adjustment, each step deliberate. Below, gun crews continue their rhythm, loading and firing in practiced succession. The ocean carries the subtle vibrations of effort, the sails respond to the wind, and every movement is measured. Even preparation is a form of patience, a slow dance that will amplify the chaos when the battle reaches its peak. Orders to trim sails are given with calm precision. Each rope pulled, each line secured, shifts the ship's angle imperceptibly but significantly. The wind catches, the vessel tilts, responding with grace to your instructions. The ocean hums beneath the hull, creaks echo softly through timbers. Every adjustment is deliberate, measured, and slow, tiny movements with large consequences. The enemy remains unaware of your precise control, their focus elsewhere. Patience, timing, and observation are your most powerful weapons now, even before a single cutlass is drawn. The wind shifts slightly, brushing against the sails and carrying the scent of the sea across the deck. You pause, observing its subtle influence. Small adjustments to course and sail angle are made quietly, each decision slow and deliberate. The ship responds, tilting gracefully, cutting through the waves with efficiency. The crew senses your calm, steady presence, trusting each measured instruction. Even the invisible currents of air and water are now part of your careful calculations, a reminder that the ocean itself is an ally to those who understand its rhythm. A cannonball splinters a section of deck. Men cry out. Slowly, you note injuries, sending medics and assistants to aid the wounded. Reports are delivered with measured calm, each number, each location recorded. The ocean hums beneath, sails sway softly, and the crew adjusts with quiet efficiency. Your steady presence keeps panic at bay. Even amid sudden injury, the rhythm of duty and observation continues, a slow, careful orchestration of life, responsibility, and survival aboard a wooden ship in the age of sail. Orders for grapples, hooks, and axes are issued slowly, deliberately. The crew moves methodically, assembling tools for close combat. Marines position themselves in the tops. Sailors adjust lines and ropes. Each action is precise, measured, and purposeful. The gentle rocking of the vessel challenges their balance, demanding patience and careful timing. Outside, the wind presses against the sails, carrying the tension forward. Even in preparation, you feel the slow rhythm of battle, the anticipation of chaos tempered by the quiet efficiency of a well-led crew. The enemy ship drifts closer, and the distance shortens. You time the approach slowly, adjusting sails, shifting course, watching every movement. The crew moves with silent discipline, ropes taut, guns prepared. The ocean hums beneath, wind presses on canvas, and the enemy remains unaware of the precision behind each maneuver. Patience dominates thought, every adjustment deliberate. Even as the moment of confrontation nears, the calm observation of the quarterdeck guides action, ensuring that opportunity is met with measured, effective response. A grappling hook lands with a soft thud, pulling the enemy vessel closer. You order carefully, deliberately, positioning boarding parties with quiet precision. The deck shakes gently beneath, men adjust, ropes creak, sails respond to the wind. The chaos of potential hand-to-hand combat looms, yet the moment unfolds slowly, measured by careful preparation. Observation, patience, and calm authority dominate. Every move, though small, shapes the coming battle. The ocean whispers beneath your feet, the wind hums softly, and the ship responds, ready for the first engagement that will define this day. The gap closes further, and men leap across with axes and pistols. The clash is intimate, brutal, yet moves with slow, deliberate choreography. Each cut, each step, is guided by training, observation, and patience. The enemy resists, but their coordination falters. Splinters, smoke, and cries fill the air, yet your presence remains calm, steady, and deliberate. Even in chaos, the rhythm of command flows, the ship responds, and the ocean cradles the scene. The slow, steady art of leadership turns potential disaster into a controlled, effective action. With careful steps, your crew establishes control over key sections of the enemy deck. Orders are issued in measured tones, directing men to secure guns, restrain officers, and tend the wounded. Every action is deliberate, every movement slow and precise. The ocean hums, sails ripple, and ropes creak softly. Even in the aftermath of close combat, calm observation and patience guide the crew. Victory is not rushed. It is achieved step by step, moment by moment, measured by careful decision and disciplined execution. Once the deck is secured, you move slowly through the captured vessel. Splintered wood, smoke, and debris mark the battle. You note damage to masts, sails, and hull, directing repairs with measured calm. Crew members work quietly, following your precise instructions. The gentle sway of the ocean continues. Wind presses against the sails, and every movement is deliberate. Even in the aftermath, patience and careful observation guide action. The prize is yours, but responsibility remains. For men, for vessel, for the continuation of duty. You select sailors to manage the captured vessel, assigning officers and men with careful deliberation. Every choice balances skill, strength, and availability. Instructions are clear but calm, measured, and slow. The ocean hums beneath both ships, sails ripple gently, and ropes creak softly. Even in this mundane task, leadership flows through deliberate observation, patience, and precision. The prize ship must be managed carefully to ensure safe passage, every decision carrying potential consequences. Officers and sailors from the captured ship are gathered and restrained. You issue instructions slowly, directing care, observation, and humane treatment. The ship hums beneath, wind sways sails, and men follow instructions with quiet discipline. Even amid uncertainty, patience dominates, each choice measured. The treatment of prisoners is deliberate, balancing discipline, safety, and tradition. The calm, slow hand of authority governs every interaction, maintaining order, morale, and humanity aboard the crowded decks. As the sun dips toward the horizon, casting a golden glow across the waves, you stand at the quarterdeck. The ship rocks gently, ropes creak softly, and sails ripple in the wind. The day's victories, the battles, the choices, and the cost of command settle slowly in your mind. You reflect on every decision, every movement, every life affected. Calm observation, patience, and deliberate thought have guided the day. Outside, the ocean stretches infinitely, whisper. Darkness settles over the ocean like a velvet cloak, muffling the sounds of battle, yet amplifying the creaks and groans of the wooden hull. Lanterns flicker softly on the quarterdeck, casting long shadows across the ropes and gun carriages. The crew moves quietly, tending the wounded, repairing splintered rails, and securing sails against the night wind. You stand at the helm, observing slowly, your mind cataloging damage, evaluating the health of the crew, and anticipating the decisions tomorrow will demand. The sea hums beneath, waves lapping rhythmically, a steady heartbeat against the chaos of the day. Patience is your constant companion. Evening is a time of subtle vigilance. Sailors murmur softly, but you remain alert, noting the smallest details. A hammock tied too loosely, a rope frayed, a lantern swinging in a breeze. Discipline must be maintained even after victory. Orders are issued slowly, deliberately, and followed with precision. The wind presses against sails, and the ship rocks gently beneath your feet. Every action is observed, every man assessed. Leadership is quiet now, but no less demanding. Authority is measured in careful attention, in patience, and in a calm that reassures the crew without alarming them. Your chosen sailors move onto the captured vessel with deliberate care. Every line of rope, every sail, every deck plank is checked and adjusted. You instruct slowly, explaining the importance of balance, timing, and observation in their new command. The prize ship rocks gently in tandem with your frigate. The wind hums against the sails, carrying the faint smell of salt and gunpowder. Every decision is carefully weighed: how many men to assign, how many to leave behind. Even minor errors could compromise safety, prize, and morale. The slow rhythm of the ocean mirrors the slow rhythm of authority at work. The crew moves into nightly routine. Hammocks are hung, watches assigned, lanterns lit along the deck. The gentle sway of the vessel dominates the sensory field, punctuated by the quiet murmurs of tired men. You observe, noting each man's condition, making slow, deliberate judgments about readiness and duty. Even in these seemingly mundane moments, command is exacting. Orders flow calmly but firmly. The ocean, indifferent and vast, frames the small, disciplined world of the ship. The night is a slow, deliberate interlude between action and anticipation. Alone on the quarterdeck, you breathe deeply, the cool night air carrying the scent of salt and distant pine. Stars reflect softly on the gentle waves. Thoughts drift slowly across the day's events. Decisions made, victories won, lives lost. The weight of command settles fully on your shoulders, yet patience and calm remain your allies. You trace each step of the battle, each choice, each consequence, understanding that leadership is as much about reflection as action. The ocean whispers beneath, a vast and steady companion in the long, slow hours of night. You move slowly through the decks, lantern in hand, checking every line, sail, and cannon. Splintered wood is repaired cautiously, ropes retied with precision. The crew follows quietly, performing their tasks under the gentle sway of the ship. Even minor oversights could compromise safety or readiness, so each inspection is thorough and deliberate. Outside, the ocean hums, waves brushing the hull. Your careful, patient attention maintains the invisible balance of command, ensuring the ship remains a well-functioning world in miniature, even amid isolation and danger. In your cabin, maps and charts are spread across the desk. Lantern light flickers across inked lines and notes. You trace the day's maneuvers, considering wind direction, timing of broadsides, and positioning of crew. Each tactical decision is reviewed slowly, deliberately, searching for lessons and improvements. Outside, the ship rocks gently, a rhythmic lullaby of wood and water. The quiet allows focus, and the slow contemplation strengthens skill. Command is not only action but reflection, patience, and learning from the rhythm of the sea itself. Even as most of the crew sleeps, a few men patrol the deck. You rise, lantern in hand, walking slowly along the quarterdeck. The wind brushes against your coat, sails ripple softly, and the distant stars glimmer. Each observation is deliberate. A rope taut, a sail misaligned, the subtle sounds of the ocean indicating weather changes. Vigilance is constant, even in calm. Leadership is sustained not only in battle but in these quiet, slow moments, ensuring the ship remains ready for any challenge the dawn may bring. Plans for the next day are made carefully, charts examined, supplies counted, watches assigned. Each decision is slow and deliberate, considering crew fatigue, vessel condition, and the uncertain wind. Even minor adjustments, sail position, course direction, or ration allocation, require attention. Outside, the ocean rocks gently, carrying the ship forward. The quiet patience of preparation ensures that the crew, the ship, and the mission will endure. The weight of command is constant, but measured reflection transforms responsibility into readiness. At night, you gaze skyward, tracing constellations, considering navigation, and calculating position. The gentle rocking beneath you mirrors the slow sweep of celestial bodies across the sky. Stars, wind, and waves form a rhythm that guides your thoughts. You reflect on the day's decisions and anticipate the next, understanding that every command, every observation, and every adjustment depends on precise timing. The ocean hums beneath, steady and eternal, a reminder of the slow, deliberate pace necessary to master command at sea. Below decks, wounded sailors are tended with patience. Surgeons move slowly but purposefully, washing, binding, and stabilizing injuries with limited tools. You observe and direct quietly, ensuring resources are used efficiently and compassionately. The gentle sway of the ship complicates every action, requiring careful attention. Even in darkness, the rhythm of care, observation, and patience continues. Every life saved, every injury treated, reinforces the slow, persistent weight of command as the ocean hums beneath, indifferent but constant. Officers bring quiet reports of supplies, crew condition, and ship damage. You listen patiently, taking time to analyze and question. Each report adds to the larger understanding of readiness and risk. Decisions are slow and deliberate. Nothing is rushed. Outside, the ship rocks gently, sails ripple in the soft wind, and lanterns cast dancing shadows across faces. Even in calm, authority is exercised with care, observation, and patience, ensuring that the ship and crew are prepared for whatever challenges the next day may bring. By lantern light, you record the day's events in the ship's log. Every maneuver, every casualty, every decision is noted with precision. Writing is slow, deliberate, each word weighed carefully. The ship rocks gently beneath, sails whisper softly in the wind. The act of documenting preserves memory, instructs the future, and transforms chaos into measured knowledge. The quiet task reminds you that command is continuous, extending beyond immediate action into careful reflection and record, guided by patience and disciplined observation. Rations are counted, water inspected, and stores assessed. You plan for the days ahead with slow deliberation, considering wind, distance, and crew consumption. Even minor errors could have major consequences, so each calculation is careful. The ocean hums beneath, sails sway gently, and lanterns flicker in the cabins. Management of resources is a quiet form of command, slower than battle but equally critical. Each decision balances survival, readiness, and the slow unfolding of duty. The deck is mostly silent, but the night watch moves methodically. Lanterns sway, ropes creak, and the hull groans softly with the ocean's rhythm. You walk slowly among the men, observing, correcting, guiding. Even in darkness, the same patience, calm, and deliberate authority governs action. The wind whispers through the rigging, waves lap gently against the hull, and the ship hums with life. Leadership is slow, subtle, continuous. The night itself a teacher in observation, patience, and measured decision-making. The first hints of light touch the horizon, painting the waves in soft gold. You stand at the quarterdeck, lantern extinguished, observing the gentle motion of the sea. Sailors stir slowly, adjusting hammocks and preparing lines. Orders are issued with measured calm, balancing the need for readiness with the crew's fatigue. The day ahead promises challenges, navigation, enemy contact, or weather, but patience dominates your thoughts. Even in the early stillness, the rhythm of command continues, slow, deliberate, and unbroken, mirrored by the steady swell beneath your feet. Through your spyglass, a faint silhouette appears on the horizon. The ship is small, a distant point moving with the wind. You note its course, speed, and potential threat slowly, with careful calculation. The ocean hums beneath, waves ripple gently, and the crew adjusts sails in quiet anticipation. Every detail matters. The ship's angle, the wind's subtle shift, the smallest movement. Even before action begins, observation and patience provide an advantage. Leadership is exercised in the slow accumulation of knowledge, translating calm vigilance into future success. The crew rises fully, moving with the rhythm of practiced habit. Hammocks are stowed, decks swept, ropes coiled neatly. You observe silently, issuing instructions with deliberate calm. The wind presses against the sails, the ocean hums softly, and the ship responds with grace to careful adjustments. Even mundane routines carry weight. Efficiency ensures readiness. Every action is measured, every command deliberate. Leadership is continuous, extending beyond battle into the quiet, patient orchestration of men, sails, and timbers, a dance in harmony with the ocean itself. Gun crews work methodically, loading, swabbing, and aligning cannons. Every movement is deliberate, slow, precise. You walk among them, observing, correcting, and encouraging with quiet authority. The wind hums against sails, ropes creak softly, and the gentle sway of the ship adds constant challenge. Training and discipline transform routine into readiness. Even the smallest error could have consequences, so every step is deliberate. Calm observation, careful timing, and measured instruction are the tools of command, preparing the crew for action yet to come. Maps and charts are spread across the cabin desk. You study them slowly, measuring latitude, calculating distance, and plotting the ship's route with deliberate care. Each line, each note, is precise. The ocean hums beneath the hull, sails ripple gently above, and lantern light flickers across your workspace. Command requires foresight, and the slow, careful act of navigation ensures that every day at sea maintains order, avoids danger, and maximizes opportunity. Leadership is not only action, it is anticipation, reflection, and patience. Clouds gather faintly on the horizon, a subtle change in color and pattern. You pause, observing wind direction, sea movement, and sail response. Orders are given slowly, adjusting course and trimming sails with deliberate care. The crew moves in quiet harmony, responding to subtle instructions. The ocean itself is a teacher in patience, each swell and shift a reminder that command requires attention to detail and calm observation. Even in calm moments, the slow vigilance of a captain ensures safety, readiness, and effective control. Below decks, you inspect provisions: salted meat, ship's biscuits, water casks. Every item is examined carefully. The state of supplies affects the entire mission, crew morale, and potential health crises. Orders are given calmly to rotate rations, maintain barrels, and protect stores. Lantern light flickers over the cramped, wooden compartments. The gentle sway of the ship challenges your balance, requiring deliberate movement. Even these slow, practical tasks demand patience, foresight, and careful attention, the quiet backbone of leadership at sea. You walk among sailors, speaking quietly, observing expressions and demeanor. Some are fatigued, others restless. Gentle encouragement, subtle observation, and calm presence maintain morale. The ship rocks beneath you, the wind shifts softly, and ropes creak in rhythm with the timbers. Even small gestures, a nod, a few words of recognition, carry authority and reassurance. Leadership extends beyond orders. It is presence, patience, and measured human connection. The crew trusts calm authority, which guides both discipline and spirit. Splintered rails, frayed ropes, and damaged sails require attention. You assign carpenters and deckhands with slow, deliberate care. Each repair is considered: method, timing, and potential impact on readiness. Lanterns cast long shadows across the working decks. The ship rocks gently, and the wind hums softly against the rigging. Even in repair, leadership is patient, methodical, and attentive. The success of tomorrow depends on careful, deliberate action today, demonstrating that command is not only courage but persistence and foresight. Lanterns flicker as the night watch takes their posts. You walk slowly along the quarterdeck, observing each man, checking positions and readiness. The ocean hums beneath, sails sway gently, and the wind whispers against rigging. Even in calm darkness, attention must be absolute. Every observation is deliberate. Every minor adjustment ensures that potential threats are noticed and mitigated. Leadership is a quiet vigilance, a slow, continuous exercise in patience and authority, keeping the ship safe through the long, slow hours of night. Alone, you lean against the rail, staring at the star-strewn sky. The ocean reflects faint moonlight, rocking the vessel gently. Thoughts drift slowly across the day's events: decisions, victories, near misses, and the lives under your responsibility. Calm reflection guides future choices. Even amid the vast silence, your presence is a steadying force for the crew. Leadership is a quiet, continuous exercise in patience, observation, and deliberate decision-making. The night itself becomes a teacher in endurance and vigilance. Below decks on the captured vessel, sailors quietly check rigging, sails, and supplies. Every action is slow and deliberate, as mistakes could jeopardize the prize. Lanterns illuminate careful hands and focused faces. You walk the decks between ships, observing and directing with calm authority. The ocean hums beneath, gentle waves rocking the hulls. Leadership is patience made tangible, careful oversight, methodical planning, and steady guidance, ensuring that both ships remain ready for whatever tomorrow may bring. You meet your officers quietly in the cabin. Plans are discussed deliberately, reflecting on tactics, damage, crew performance, and next-day priorities. The gentle sway of the ship underlines every decision. Lantern light casts long shadows on maps and faces, emphasizing the careful consideration of each choice. Dialogue is slow, patient, reflective. Authority is exercised through measured counsel and calm decision-making. Leadership is not only command of men but stewardship of thought, planning, and foresight, guiding the ship steadily through uncertainty. Below decks, hammocks swing gently. The ship hums, the ocean rocks, and the crew sleeps in careful rotation. Some dream of battle, some of home. Lanterns flicker softly, casting shadows on ropes and walls. You walk quietly, observing restlessness, tending minor issues, ensuring safety. Even in rest, command persists, a slow, deliberate watch over the living world of the ship. Leadership is constant, patient, and unobtrusive, blending calm presence with unseen guidance, ensuring survival, readiness, and order. The horizon is faintly illuminated, heralding dawn. You stand at the quarterdeck, observing wind, waves, and crew readiness. Charts and orders are reviewed slowly, each decision deliberate. The prize ship rocks beside you, sails adjusting gently. Tomorrow promises new challenges: navigation, engagement, supply management. Even as the crew sleeps, your mind works with patience and precision. Leadership is slow, deliberate, and unending. Every observation, every calculation, every moment of calm preparation shaping the success and survival of the ship and crew. The sickbay remain tense. William's injury dominated attention, but other minor wounds, bruises, cuts, sprains, demanded care. The surgeon moved from patient to patient, his hands deft despite the crowded conditions. The stench of antiseptics and the tang of blood mingled with the damp wood of the lower decks. You lingered for a moment, ensuring that morale remained intact. Sailors often feared illness more than cannon fire. Orders were given to rotate the men on deck, maintaining watch while giving the injured a chance to recover. Every small decision weighed on the safety and efficiency of the crew. The wind had moderated slightly by mid-morning, allowing you to resume careful sail adjustments. Mr. Harrison reported the changes in pressure and direction. "Sir, a light breeze from the southwest. The topsails are stable, but we'll need to monitor closely." You nodded, appreciating the subtle but vital information. Trimming sails was a constant balancing act. Too tight, and strain threatened the rigging. Too loose, and speed was lost. You walked the deck, observing the crew, offering a nod or a word of guidance, blending leadership with practical engagement. Below decks, the hammocks swung gently in the rhythm of the waves. Conversations were hushed. The men knew the dangers the storm had brought and the fragile state of the Spanish prisoners. Their eyes occasionally flicked toward the officers, gauging moods, looking for reassurance. You descended briefly to inspect, acknowledging each man's efforts. Small gestures, touching a shoulder, a quick word, built loyalty and trust. Naval discipline demanded respect, not fear. Even in these quiet moments, you reminded yourself that your presence was a stabilizing force. Afternoon brought a new concern. Clouds darkened unexpectedly in the west. "Sir, squall approaching," reported the lookout. Instantly, the crew sprang into action. Sails were reefed, rigging checked, and all loose items lashed down. Your mind calculated angles, distances, and timings. Entering the storm was a risk, but maintaining proximity to the Spanish brig's former course was critical. You coordinated from the quarterdeck, issuing commands, adjusting priorities as conditions evolved. Each decision could mean life or death, success or disaster. The squall hit with fury, rain lashing the deck, wind threatening to tear sails from their stays. Visibility dropped to near zero, and the sound of creaking timber and snapping lines filled the air. You moved with deliberate steps, hands gripping ropes for balance, voice carrying commands over the roar. The crew responded with discipline, a testament to training and cohesion. The Spanish prisoners huddled below, realizing the storm's impartial danger. Even in adversity, the unwritten code of mutual respect and human concern persisted. As the storm passed, the sea remained choppy. Your thoughts turned to provisions. The ration calculations, already tight, now demanded more attention. "Mr. Purser, inventory report," you called. Barrels of water, ship's biscuit, salted meat, each carefully accounted for. Decisions had consequences. Too little, and morale and health suffered. Too much, and shortages loomed before Gibraltar. You implemented minor ration adjustments, balancing sustenance for crew and prisoners alike. Small administrative acts underpinned survival at sea. Evening brought reflection. The deck glistened with rain, and the sunset was muted by residual clouds. You walked slowly, observing crew fatigue, checking that watches remained alert, noting minor damages that required repair. Leadership was as much about foresight as immediate command. Each action, each inspection, prevented accidents, injuries, and inefficiency. You reviewed the map, the charts, and recalculated your course. Dead reckoning was unforgiving. Every correction mattered. Nightfall enveloped the ship, lanterns casting limited glow. You convened a brief meeting with senior officers to review the next day's plan. Discussion covered navigation, health, and morale. Orders were clarified, contingencies considered, responsibilities assigned. The complexity of command emerged not in dramatic battle but in meticulous preparation, anticipation, and communication. The officers dispersed, returning to watches, leaving you alone for a moment to contemplate the vast, dark ocean surrounding your ship. The watch reported unusual movement on the horizon, distant shadows of sails, faint but unmistakable. Your heart quickened, another vessel. Orders were given to signal and identify. Caution was paramount. Misjudgment could result in friendly fire, missed opportunity, or exposure to a superior enemy. You observed through the spyglass, studying the silhouettes, comparing to known vessel types. Naval intelligence relied on observation, memory, and intuition, tools honed through years of experience. As dawn approached, the distant vessel became clearer, a small merchantman, flying neutral colors. Relief and opportunity intertwined. You decided to intercept, balancing risk and reward. The crew prepared sails, cleared rigging, and readied boarding parties. Even a minor engagement required precision, coordination, and discipline. Orders were repeated, verified, and confirmed. This was the rhythm of naval life: continuous vigilance, constant calculation, and the ability to act decisively when the moment arrived. The merchantman maintained its course, unaware of your proximity. You instructed the crew to approach quietly, sails trimmed for maximum speed without creating a visible wake. Every creak of wood, every flap of canvas was a signal that had to be managed. Orders were whispered, signals carefully coordinated, ensuring that the element of surprise remained intact. The boarding party prepared grappling hooks, cutlasses, and pistols, their faces a mix of anticipation and disciplined calm. In the age of sail, readiness was survival. As you closed distance, the wind shifted slightly, threatening to reveal your position prematurely. Adjustments were made, jib sheets eased, yards shifted, and the ship responded with remarkable agility. The crew's training was evident. Men moved with practiced precision, anticipating commands before they were fully spoken. The merchantman's sails flapped irregularly in the wind, and you noted its probable lack of experienced hands. A tactical advantage was forming, the quiet before the storm, a moment where preparation and skill intersected. You gave the order to signal the merchantman, flags raised to demand identification and compliance. The ship hesitated, sails wobbling in indecision. Fear or caution, you could not tell. You considered options. Aggressive boarding risked resistance and casualties, while allowing her to continue might mean a missed opportunity for valuable cargo. The officers consulted briefly, and the consensus leaned toward measured intimidation. Show strength, offer the chance to surrender peacefully. Command often meant choosing between moral certainty and tactical necessity. The merchantman responded, hoisting its colors and hailing your ship. Communication was basic but effective. You demanded her papers and cargo manifests, signaling intent to inspect and, if necessary, seize the vessel. Your voice carried across the water, calm but authoritative, embodying both law and threat. The tension aboard both ships was palpable. Every sailor understood the stakes: obedience, resistance, or disaster. Even in seemingly routine captures, the potential for injury or death hung in the balance. As the merchant crew prepared to comply, you observed subtle signs of concealment. Cargo areas hastily covered, suspicious crates shifted awkwardly. Naval intelligence required attention to detail. A false document, a hidden contraband shipment, even the smallest inconsistency could reveal the truth. You ordered a boarding party to prepare for inspection, emphasizing caution and control. The officers drilled protocols, ensuring that every sailor knew their role. The gap between order and execution could be lethal, and you were acutely aware of it. The boarding party approached the merchantman in small boats, oars cutting silently through the calm morning sea. The rain from the previous storm left the deck slick, demanding careful footing. Every movement was deliberate, balancing speed and stealth. You remained on deck, observing through a spyglass, coordinating with signals from the other ship. The element of surprise was critical. If the merchant crew sensed panic or overconfidence, the operation could unravel. This delicate balance between aggression and caution defined effective naval action. As the boarding party reached the merchantman, the crew complied with minimal resistance. Sailors jumped aboard with practiced precision, weapons ready but restrained. You watched closely, evaluating every interaction. Even in a minor operation, leadership mattered. Decisive, visible presence instilled confidence and prevented panic. The boarding party conducted inspections, verifying cargo and documents, reporting discrepancies. Naval life combined calculation, authority, and observation. No detail, however small, could be ignored without potential consequence. The merchantman's papers revealed hidden shipments destined for an enemy port. This intelligence was crucial. Your interception had disrupted enemy supply lines. Orders were issued to secure the contraband and temporarily hold the vessel under your command. The operation was delicate, balancing legal authority, tactical necessity, and the safety of both crews. Even minor victories required careful management, with decisions echoing through weeks of planning and months of campaign. Every choice had strategic implications beyond immediate gain. Returning to your ship, the boarding party brought reports and contraband. You reviewed the information, cross-referencing against prior intelligence. The day's events reinforced a central truth. Command at sea was a constant interplay of vigilance, decisiveness, and foresight. Crew fatigue, morale, weather, and enemy action were variables you balanced simultaneously. Even when no cannon fired, the pressure of responsibility remained unrelenting. The careful orchestration of personnel, timing, and resources defined success. By evening, the captured merchantman was secured alongside your ship, her crew under guard, her cargo catalogued. The sun set slowly, casting long shadows across the deck. You walked among your men, observing the interactions, offering words of guidance and reassurance. Small acts of presence reinforced authority, built trust, and maintained order. The sea around you remained unpredictable, a reminder that every success was temporary and every operation required preparation for the next challenge. Vigilance never ended. Night falls, and your ship adjusts sails for a steady course toward Gibraltar. Lanterns swing gently across the deck, casting flickering shadows on the crew. The men work with quiet efficiency, attending to minor repairs and securing loose equipment. Even in darkness, vigilance remains paramount. You make rounds, inspecting watch rotations, confirming the watchmen understand their assignments. Every sailor knows that a lapse in attention, even at night, could mean disaster. The ocean offers no mercy for negligence. Below decks, the hammocks sway gently as men rest in shifts. Some sleep deeply, exhausted from the storm and previous engagements, while others maintain half-conscious awareness, ready to respond to any sudden alarm. You descend briefly, observing the orderly rotation and ensuring no dangers are overlooked. Discipline and routine are as essential as courage. Properly rested sailors are more alert and responsive, reducing risk of accidents and increasing efficiency in all operations aboard a warship. The prisoners from the merchantman are confined below, under guard but treated humanely. Officers occupy the wardroom, while common sailors are secured in the forward hold. You inspect their conditions, confirming adequate provisions and ventilation. Even in captivity, the moral and professional standards of naval service demand fair treatment. Mismanagement could lead to unrest, escapes, or illness, compromising the crew and mission. Command is as much about managing people as it is about maneuvering ships. As the moon rises, you study charts and plot the next course. The sea is calm, but weather can change swiftly. Instruments are checked, compass calibrated, chronometer verified, and the lead line ready for sounding. Navigation requires constant attention. Errors can be fatal. You review intelligence from recent captures, noting potential threats along the approach to Gibraltar. Even in apparent tranquility, a captain must anticipate hazards, ready to act decisively at a moment's notice. Preparation is the unseen backbone of command. In the small hours, the sound of waves against the hull is punctuated by occasional creaks and groans. The men at watch are alert, scanning the horizon for sails, lights, or disturbances. The constant rhythm of the sea, the ship's movement, and the ever-present potential for danger shape life aboard. You move quietly across the deck, confirming the watch's alert and offering encouragement. Leadership in these hours is subtle but crucial. Presence, observation, and reassurance keep order and morale intact. Dawn brings changing light and new responsibilities. You inspect rigging and sails, ensuring readiness for any sudden maneuver or emergency. Crew members respond with practiced precision, performing maintenance and drills. Orders are calm but firm, instilling confidence. The arrival of another sail on the horizon draws attention. Your officers quickly identify it as a friendly convoy. Relief is measured. Even familiar ships can present complications. Communication through signals and flags ensures coordination, reflecting the importance of clarity and discipline. The convoy passes safely, and you resume course toward Gibraltar. Routine tasks continue: pumps checked, provisions inventoried, and the crew given brief periods for rest and refreshment. Every aspect of life aboard a ship requires constant management. Even minor neglect, a poorly tied knot, a leaking cask, or a fatigued sailor, could escalate into serious problems. The balance between operational readiness and maintaining morale is delicate. You carefully observe interactions among the crew, providing guidance where needed. Midday, and the prisoners are offered a brief period on deck for air and exercise under guard. This controlled exposure maintains health and discipline. The officer of the watch reports minor signs of seasickness among some crew, addressed through standard remedies. You note these details in your log, aware that small issues, if left unchecked, can spread quickly. The routine of documentation, observation, and proactive management is as vital to successful command as skill in battle or navigation. Afternoon inspection focuses on the ship's weaponry. Cannons, powder stores, and small arms are checked for readiness. You observe gunnery drills, noting precision and speed. Even without immediate conflict, maintaining operational readiness ensures the crew remains capable of responding effectively. Leadership requires attention to both immediate and potential threats. Orders are given to adjust gun elevation, secure powder, and clean equipment. Discipline and preparation underpin both safety and combat effectiveness. Evening approaches, and you convene a brief council with officers to review the day's progress and plan for the next. Weather forecasts, navigation charts, and intelligence are discussed. Decisions are made regarding sail adjustments, watch rotations, and provisioning schedules. Every choice reflects the interplay between strategic objectives and human limitations. The day ends with a sense of quiet accomplishment, but the awareness that tomorrow will bring new challenges remains ever present. The responsibility of command is unending. Night settles once again, and the ship moves steadily through the Mediterranean, her sails full and hull cutting the waves. Lanterns illuminate the deck as the crew rotates through the night watches. You observe from the quarterdeck, noting subtle changes in wind direction and the ship's heel. Every minor adjustment matters. A poorly trimmed sail can reduce speed or create strain on the rigging. Discipline and observation during these hours are as vital as in the heat of battle. Fatigue is constant, yet vigilance cannot waver. Below decks, the surgeon reports no new injuries, though a few men remain weakened from previous exertions. Cleanliness and hygiene continue to be enforced, with deck washing and ventilation prioritized. You remind officers of the importance of monitoring illness and seasickness. The forward hold, where prisoners remain, is inspected to ensure they are neither overcrowded nor neglected. Leadership extends to all aboard, including those captured, as proper management reduces unrest and maintains order. Dawn brings a light breeze from the southwest. You gather the officers to review navigation plans, checking the latest charts against dead reckoning calculations. The chronometer is verified, and depth soundings are scheduled for the approaching coastline. Precision is essential. A single miscalculation could lead to grounding on hidden shoals. The officers discuss contingencies, reflecting the collaborative decision-making required for effective command. Each choice carries risk, requiring careful judgment and experience. The ship approaches a small island visible on the horizon. You order the leadsmen to take continuous soundings, ensuring safe passage. Crew members adjust sails and rigging in response to changing wind patterns. The Spanish prisoners remain below, watched but treated fairly. Observing the horizon, you see distant sails, potentially hostile. You signal to the officers to prepare the crew for possible engagement while maintaining a cautious approach. The balance between caution and initiative defines a successful captain. Midday sun reflects off the water as the ship sails along a steady course. Orders are issued to check gunpowder and maintain the cannons in battle readiness. Even without immediate threat, drills continue to keep the crew alert and disciplined. Routine tasks, not inspections, Pump checks and sail maintenance are carried out with precision. You move among the men, offering guidance and encouragement, reinforcing morale and confidence. Leadership is demonstrated not only in orders but in presence and example. A sudden squall appears on the horizon, dark clouds forming quickly. You issue commands to reef sails and secure loose equipment. Officers and crew respond efficiently, adjusting the ship's balance and preparing for high winds. The Spanish prisoners are secured below, with officers ensuring their safety. Every maneuver is precise. Any misstep could result in injury or loss. You observe the storm's approach, balancing caution with the need to maintain progress. Storms are tests of skill, judgment, and leadership. The storm hits, waves breaking over the deck and winds straining the rigging. Crew members work at pumps, sails, and lines, moving in coordinated effort. You oversee from the quarterdeck, issuing clear, calm orders despite the chaos. The ship heels dangerously at times, but discipline and preparation keep her afloat. Below, the surgeon monitors seasick and injured men, applying remedies and offering reassurance. Leadership in crisis is both visible and practical, ensuring the crew functions under extreme stress. After hours of violent weather, the storm passes. Damage assessment begins immediately. Rigging is inspected, minor repairs are carried out, and sails are adjusted to optimize speed and stability. Crew morale is carefully monitored. Exhaustion is mitigated through rotation and encouragement. Even routine tasks now take on greater significance, as the ship must be fully operational to avoid further danger. You record observations in the log, ensuring detailed accounts for both accountability and future planning. The evening brings calm seas and fading light. You gather officers for a discussion of strategic goals and upcoming navigational challenges. Weather patterns, intelligence, and potential threats are reviewed. Decisions are made regarding sail configuration, watch rotations, and provisions management. The balance between operational readiness, crew welfare, and mission objectives is continually reassessed. Leadership requires foresight, judgment, and a keen understanding of both human and environmental factors. Night deepens, and the ship sails steadily toward Gibraltar. Watches are maintained, and the crew remains vigilant. You inspect the deck and rigging, confirming that all repairs and adjustments from the storm are secure. Below, the prisoners rest under supervision, while your own men enjoy brief moments of respite. Sleep is limited, but morale is sustained through careful management and presence. Even in quiet moments, command demands attention, foresight, and an unwavering sense of responsibility for every life aboard. Dawn breaks with a soft orange glow, illuminating the calm Mediterranean waters. The crew begins morning routines, scrubbing decks, checking rigging, and preparing breakfast. The ship feels almost peaceful after the storm, yet your mind remains alert for hazards. You convene a short officers' meeting to discuss the next leg toward Gibraltar. Charts are consulted, and the latest readings from the leads men guide the course. Even in calm weather, precision and vigilance remain essential, for danger often comes unexpectedly. A merchant vessel appears on the horizon. Orders are given to identify her flags and intentions. Binoculars reveal a neutral trader, carrying supplies likely destined for Gibraltar. You decide to pass without engagement, signaling courtesy and maintaining the integrity of naval law. Officers note the encounter, as it may be recorded in logs and later cited in reports. Even routine decisions like this affect diplomacy, trade relations, and perceptions of British naval authority in the region. Below decks, the surgeon reports that no new illness has arisen among your crew. You conduct a brief inspection of the sick bay, ensuring cleanliness and proper ventilation. The Spanish prisoners are given exercise in small groups on deck, reducing tension and preventing unrest. You walk among your men, reinforcing discipline and camaraderie. Leadership is constant, not only in crisis but in maintaining routine, health, and morale. Every detail affects readiness and cohesion. Afternoon brings a steady breeze from the west. You order the trimming of sails to maximize speed and stability. Officers carry out drills to maintain proficiency in gunnery and emergency maneuvers. The Spanish prisoners remain under guard, yet they observe the crew's skill and discipline. Even captured sailors recognize order and competence, which speaks to your leadership. The ship's log is updated meticulously, a reflection of both operational accuracy and accountability for future reporting. Clouds gather once more, signaling another potential storm. Orders are issued to secure loose equipment and check rigging. The crew responds with practiced efficiency. You oversee from the quarterdeck, issuing instructions with clarity and calm. The Spanish prisoners are moved below deck for safety. You note the importance of preparing for unforeseen events. The ability to anticipate and mitigate danger separates a competent captain from a masterful one. The storm strikes in the early evening, wind and rain lashing the decks. Crew members battle at pumps and adjust sails, moving in coordinated effort to maintain stability. You maintain command from the quarterdeck, giving precise orders and observing conditions. Below, the surgeon attends to the seasick and injured. Every action must be deliberate, as the smallest mistake could result in damage or loss of life. Leadership in extreme conditions tests judgment, skill, and resilience. After hours of violent weather, the storm subsides. Damage assessment begins immediately. Rigging and sails are repaired, and the ship's course adjusted to avoid hazards revealed by the storm. Crew fatigue is noted, and officers rotate men through rest periods to prevent collapse from exhaustion. The Spanish prisoners are also checked for injuries or stress. You record the storm's effects in the log, ensuring a detailed account for both future navigation and historical record. Late afternoon, the sea is calm, and the crew resumes routine tasks. Officers review navigation charts, confirming the route toward Gibraltar. You inspect the deck, rigging, and guns, ensuring that all repairs are secure. Orders are issued for a midday meal and minor maintenance tasks. Even ordinary moments at sea require oversight, for the smooth functioning of the ship depends on countless small details. Your presence reinforces discipline and morale, ensuring readiness for any unexpected challenge. Evening falls with a gentle breeze. The crew relaxes slightly, though watches remain vigilant. You gather officers on the quarterdeck to review intelligence, wind patterns, and provisions. Decisions are made regarding sail configuration, watch rotations, and future contingencies. Leadership involves both foresight and practical judgment, balancing the immediate needs of the ship with long-term objectives. Every choice has consequences, and every day presents new challenges. Night deepens, and the ship sails steadily. Lanterns illuminate the decks as the crew rotates through watches. Below, the Spanish prisoners remain under supervision, their behavior calm and disciplined. You inspect the rigging and sails, confirming repairs from previous storms. Sleep is scarce, yet your awareness remains acute, balancing rest with responsibility. The constant demands of command extend beyond moments of battle. Even quiet nights require vigilance, judgment, and the quiet assurance of authority over all aboard. Dawn breaks once more, a pale light reflecting on calm seas. You rise early, checking the horizon for hazards and any sign of other vessels. The Spanish prisoners are given limited exercise on deck, keeping them occupied while preserving security. Officers conduct routine inspections of sails and rigging. Even in serene conditions, the ship requires constant attention. A neglected rope or unseen damage could become catastrophic with the sudden onset of wind or storm. Discipline and preparedness remain paramount. Mid-morning, a sail appears in the distance. You order the crew to identify the vessel. Through a spyglass, it appears to be a small merchant ship, likely neutral. Orders are given to maintain course and observe. Officers note details of her flag, sail configuration, and direction for the log. These observations, seemingly minor, contribute to intelligence that may inform future operations. The ability to interpret subtle cues often distinguishes successful captains from the merely competent. Below decks, the surgeon reports a minor outbreak of seasickness among a few sailors. You authorize adjustments in rations and ensure they remain hydrated. Fresh air and gentle movement are prescribed where feasible. The prisoners are monitored similarly. Attention to health, hygiene, and morale remains a constant duty. Even minor ailments can escalate, affecting readiness and the operational capability of the ship. Your presence, calm and informed, reassures officers and crew alike. Noon brings strong winds from the southwest. Orders are issued to adjust sails and reef topsails to maintain speed without overstraining the rigging. Officers oversee drills, reinforcing proficiency in maneuvering and gunnery. The Spanish prisoners observe from a safe distance, witnessing the efficiency and coordination of a well-disciplined crew. Even routine exercises serve as a demonstration of leadership, skill, and the standards expected in His Majesty's Navy. After noon, you convene the officers for a brief council on navigation. Charts and lead readings are scrutinized to ensure the safest and most efficient route to Gibraltar. Decisions about sail configuration, watch rotations, and rationing are finalized. Every decision reflects the constant balancing of risk and reward that defines command. Even seemingly mundane choices, how many men to assign to each task or which tack to take, carry consequences for the success of the mission and the welfare of the crew. Late afternoon, the ship encounters a moderate swell. Crew members adjust sails and secure loose equipment. You walk the deck, observing both sailors and prisoners, reinforcing discipline and morale. Minor repairs are attended to immediately, frayed ropes are replaced, and small leaks pumped out. Even calm seas demand attention, for the ocean can shift in minutes from gentle to dangerous. Leadership means constant vigilance, anticipating hazards and acting decisively. Evening brings a quiet calm. Officers gather for a short briefing on provisions, navigation, and weather predictions. The Spanish prisoners are given supper under supervision and allowed brief time on deck for fresh air. Maintaining order, discipline, and a measure of humanity is a delicate balance. You note the morale of the crew and the condition of the ship. Even in uneventful times, preparedness, observation, and foresight remain essential duties of command. Night falls, lanterns flickering across the decks. Watch rotations are observed meticulously. You inspect the rigging and sails, confirming that all repairs are secure. The Spanish prisoners are confined safely below deck, and officers maintain vigilance. Sleep is sparse, yet necessary. Your role as captain extends to all aboard, ensuring readiness, discipline, and safety. Even under quiet conditions, a captain's awareness must remain acute, for danger or opportunity can appear without warning. A gentle breeze carries the ship steadily toward Gibraltar. Officers oversee routine maintenance below decks and on the main deck. You review navigation charts and ensure all logs are current. Minor incidents are addressed quickly: an unattended line, a frayed rope, or a seasick sailor. Attention to detail ensures operational efficiency. Leadership manifests in vigilance, foresight, and a constant awareness of both ship and crew. Late night, the ship sails under moonlight, a silver reflection on calm waters. You conduct a final inspection of decks and rigging before retiring briefly. Lanterns illuminate careful watch positions, and officers remain alert. Even short periods of rest are brief and shallow, as the responsibility of command never fully ceases. The crew sleeps in shifts, and the Spanish prisoners are secured. The sea remains unpredictable, yet with discipline, vigilance, and skilled leadership, the ship continues its course toward Gibraltar. Dawn breaks over the rolling waves, the ship cutting through the morning haze. You order a full inspection of the rigging and sails. Every rope, pulley, and canvas is checked, even minor wear could become catastrophic if storms return. Crew members move efficiently under your watchful eye, aware that discipline and precision are crucial. The Spanish prisoners remain silent, absorbing the routines and hierarchy aboard the vessel. Leadership is as much about demonstrating competence as giving orders. Observing your men and prisoners, you remind yourself that vigilance is constant. A moment's lapse could cost lives at sea. Mid-morning brings routine drills. Sailors practice signal flags, lookout rotations, and emergency procedures. Officers train new recruits, turning even mundane tasks into lessons in seamanship. The prisoners watch from afar, learning, perhaps grudgingly, the strict code of conduct aboard. Orders are clear, movements precise. The rhythm of the ship is both disciplined and unyielding. As you walk the deck, observing, correcting, and encouraging, you see how leadership and example maintain order. Success at sea requires not only skill but the trust and cohesion of your crew, instilled by constant oversight. At noon, provisions are distributed carefully. The Spanish prisoners receive their allotted rations, monitored to prevent illness or waste. Officers record each distribution in the log, ensuring accountability and fairness. You review water casks and stores, confirming sufficient supplies for the voyage ahead. Naval command is an unending balancing act, rationing resources, maintaining morale, and anticipating unforeseen challenges. Every barrel of water and biscuit carries weight. Careful management can mean survival or disaster. Each decision reflects the responsibility of command that rests solely on your shoulders. Afternoon winds strengthen, requiring adjustment of sails and reefing topsails to balance speed and safety. Crew drills continue, emphasizing readiness and efficiency. You personally inspect key positions, ensuring commands are executed properly. The prisoners, observing cautiously, recognize the skill and authority necessary to maintain control in challenging conditions. Leadership is visible not only in decision-making but in demonstration, showing courage, competence, and calm. These lessons are as important for your crew as the orders themselves. Late afternoon brings a distant sail on the horizon, likely a friendly or neutral merchant ship. Officers note its type and heading, recording it in the log for intelligence purposes. Observing minor details, sail shape, wind direction, crew activity, provides situational awareness that could later prove critical. Meanwhile, the ship continues toward Gibraltar under your guidance. Attention to detail, discipline, and foresight define each moment. Even routine encounters require vigilance. The balance between operational precision and care for crew and prisoners exemplifies the constant responsibilities of command. The morning sun glinted off the waves as your ship cleared Gibraltar Harbor, the limestone cliffs receding astern. Fresh wind filled the sails, rippling across canvas and wood, the ropes singing under strain. You moved across the quarterdeck, eyes scanning every rope, every sail, every sailor in motion. Each command you gave echoed through the organized chaos below. The crew worked with practiced precision, hoisting top sails, adjusting sheets, and tightening braces, their movements almost choreographed. Even the slightest misstep would compromise the delicate balance of speed and control. The Mediterranean stretched before you, blue and vast, its currents unpredictable. Your thoughts returned to the squadron orders. Join Captain Blackwood off Cadiz. The strategic objective was clear, but the path fraught with danger. Intelligence hinted at French fleet movements, and one miscalculation could lead to catastrophe. Every sailor on deck felt the subtle tension, a mixture of excitement and dread, the same feeling that had driven men like Cochran to greatness. Command, you reflected, was not just about issuing orders, it was about embodying certainty amid uncertainty, projecting confidence so that the crew trusted both your judgment and the ship's ability to respond. Your officers gathered for a quick morning briefing. The first lieutenant, standing rigid at attention, reported on the readiness of sails and rigging. The purser presented a summary of provisions, highlighting the replenished water casks and fresh stores. While these practical details seemed mundane, you knew they were the backbone of operational effectiveness. Even the most brilliant tactical maneuver could fail if a ship ran short of fresh water or ammunition. You gave careful consideration to the rotation of watches, the distribution of new crew members, and the assignment of less experienced hands to roles where supervision was strongest. Discipline, provision, and morale were inseparable. A ship without cohesion was like a blade without a spine. You mentally reviewed your route, factoring wind, currents, and potential hazards. Every choice was a gamble against nature itself, but in command, hesitation could cost lives. As the ship settled into a steady rhythm under sail, you took a moment to observe the crew from above, noting the subtle adjustments in posture, the speed of hand movements, and the tiny signals exchanged between men. It was a language of its own, one you had to read instinctively, a dialogue between leadership and obedience that kept a floating city alive and functional. Midday brought a lull in activity, allowing you a rare moment to descend to the gun deck. The scent of tar, sweat, and salt filled the air, mingling with the faint metallic tang of cannon. You inspected the gun crews, observing their drilling and the care with which powder was handled. Musket drills from the Marines punctuated the clatter of cannon routine, the rhythm of repetition ensuring readiness for any sudden engagement. Even here, below decks, leadership was visible, not merely in orders, but in attention to detail and example. A poorly maintained gun could mean the difference between victory and ruin. As you moved through the gun deck, the weight of responsibility pressed heavily. Every creak of timber reminded you that failure could be immediate and catastrophic. Yet, observing your crew, you also felt a quiet satisfaction. Each man moved with confidence, knowing their actions mattered, trusting that you had prepared them as well as possible. It was a fragile trust, sustained by competence and fairness, and it was this trust that allowed a wooden ship and hundreds of souls to face a steel-hulled enemy across the open sea. Afternoon brought a strengthening wind, urging the ship forward with a low hum of timber and canvas. You remained on the quarterdeck, eyes fixed on the horizon, watching for the faintest sign of sails. The Mediterranean was deceptively calm in color, yet filled with unseen currents and shifting gusts that could change the day's fortunes in moments. Orders flowed continuously: ease the braces, trim the topsails, man the helm. Each command delivered in precise cadence, every reply swift and measured. The crew's synchronization reflected the countless hours of drilling, but also the subtle authority you wielded. Leadership was less about fear here than about earned trust. Even the newest hands followed instinctively, a testament to careful preparation. Below deck, the sound of pumps running reminded you that the wooden vessel required constant attention. Neglect even for hours could allow water to accumulate, threatening stability. The combination of vigilance above and below, of strategy and maintenance, underscored the perpetual tension between human skill and natural forces. In these hours, the role of captain felt less like glory and more like stewardship, the life of hundreds resting on decisions invisible to the untrained eye. You summoned the sailing master for a detailed discussion on navigational choices. Charts and compasses lay spread across the table, wind directions annotated in careful pencil lines. The master reported currents and estimated drift, projecting the ship's probable position at dusk. You reviewed potential hazards: reefs along the Spanish coast, shoals near Cadiz, and the unpredictable shifts of local winds. Every decision was a balance of speed and safety. Sailors depended on both your judgment and the precision of those beneath you. Even a momentary miscalculation could result in grounding, loss of rigging, or worse. Beyond navigation, the discussion touched on crew allocation, assigning the most experienced hands to critical roles while ensuring rotation prevented fatigue. The subtle interplay of leadership, logistics, and environmental mastery created a continuous mental burden. Yet it was in these moments of preparation, away from the chaos of battle, that a captain's skill truly revealed itself, anticipating danger, distributing responsibility, and ensuring readiness without the immediacy of crisis forcing reactionary decisions. Late afternoon brought a flurry of small tasks. The carpenter reported minor leaks at the bow, easily patched with pitch and oakum. Sailors adjusted rigging frayed by previous gales. The ship's cook signaled that evening meals would be ready soon, the smell of fresh bread wafting up through the companionway. You moved among the crew, inspecting work, offering precise guidance, and ensuring the ship maintained a rhythm between urgency and order. Even in routine maintenance, every movement had potential consequence. A poorly secured sail could jeopardize the vessel in a sudden gust. A mismanaged water cask could spill and dampen powder stores. Observing all of this, you reflected on Cochran's maxim: effective command is a combination of foresight and meticulous oversight. A captain could not simply react to events. He must anticipate them, prepare for them, and orchestrate men and material in a living system, each component as vital as the next. The afternoon waned, but the work never truly stopped, the ship itself demanding attention as if alive, testing both skill and patience. The first signs of evening approached, a pale amber glow staining the horizon. The watch rotations shifted smoothly, experienced hands taking over from those who had labored through the day. From the quarterdeck, you noted the changing light, the subtle shift in wind patterns, and the faint scent of approaching nightfall carried on the breeze. Small decisions, when to reef sails, when to post lookouts, now carried heightened importance. Darkness would reduce visibility and increase the danger of navigational errors. You consulted with the first lieutenant on lookout assignments and the placement of lanterns, ensuring readiness for both safety and potential encounters. The crew moved with quiet efficiency, their confidence built on constant practice and the clear, measured authority you maintained. Even as the sky deepened, the rhythm of the ship continued. The creak of timber, the slap of waves against the hull, and the faint murmur of men conversing below. Command, you realized, required constant vigilance not only over the ship but over human nature itself. Fatigue, miscommunication, and fear could turn a vessel into a chaos-filled trap. Your presence on deck was as much a psychological anchor as a practical one, reminding men of order and purpose in the mutable world of wind, wood, and wave. Night fell fully, blanketing the Mediterranean in inky darkness. Stars glittered faintly above, and the crescent moon cast a silver path across the waves. From the quarterdeck, you observed the ship gliding steadily, the sails taut and the hull cutting cleanly through the water. The officer of the watch approached to report all secure, lanterns properly positioned, and the lookout stationed. Below, the gentle hum of the crew on night duty provided a quiet reassurance. Even in darkness, every creak, every whisper, and every movement held meaning. The responsibility of command weighed heavily. Unseen hazards could strike without warning, from hidden shoals to enemy vessels patrolling the coast. You reviewed plans for the night watches, ensuring rotation balanced alertness with rest. In this silent vigil, you felt the duality of command, absolute authority paired with the constant awareness that failure could arrive without announcement. For many modern observers, such vigilance might seem exhausting, but for a captain in the age of sail, it was a way of life, a rhythm as familiar as the sway of the ship beneath your feet. The first hours of night passed with uneventful calm. From the stern sheets, you glimpsed distant lights on the horizon, fishing vessels and minor coastal settlements. Each potential encounter required assessment, friendly or hostile, a simple nuisance or a tactical risk. You discussed with the first lieutenant the protocols for identification and engagement, emphasizing caution without hesitation. Meanwhile, the crew on watch adjusted sails minimally, preserving position while keeping readiness intact. The subtle interplay of observation, anticipation, and immediate decision-making defined these hours. Even small misjudgments could cascade, causing accidents or leaving the vessel vulnerable. You reflected on the psychological demands, constant mental activity, awareness of each man's capacity, and the ever-present pressure of responsibility. Command, you realized, was less about direct action than about shaping the environment so that the ship and crew could act effectively under your guidance, even in unseen circumstances. The wind shifted slightly, and you gave measured instructions, testing attentiveness while maintaining the ship's smooth motion. By early morning, a faint gray light heralded the approach of dawn. You rose to inspect the deck, noting how dew collected on the rigging and how the early mist softened the sound of waves against the hull. The crew moved quietly yet efficiently, performing minor maintenance and adjusting sails for the new day. You reviewed logs from the previous watch, noting small anomalies and recording wind and current observations. These details, seemingly minor, could influence navigational decisions later in the day. You also considered morale. A crew beginning the day with purpose and clarity functioned better than one fatigued or uncertain. The balance of discipline, observation, and encouragement was delicate, yet critical. Orders were given with precision, yet with a tone that reinforced confidence rather than fear. Even mundane routines became lessons in cohesion, each sailor understanding that his work contributed to a larger whole. By mid-morning, the sun pierced the lingering haze, casting sharp shadows across the deck. Sailors worked in measured rhythm, adjusting sails, checking rigging, and performing the minutiae that kept the vessel seaworthy. You inspected each group, nodding to competent hands and correcting errors with quiet authority. The subtle balance between oversight and delegation was crucial. Too much interference could slow operations, too little risked mistakes with serious consequences. Below, the hold showed signs of water seepage in minor pools near the bilge, promptly attended by the pump crew. Even small issues demanded vigilance. Every action reinforced discipline and order, a reflection of your understanding that the ship functioned not as wooden sail alone, but as a complex system of human coordination. Strategic decisions and minute maintenance intertwined continuously, requiring a mind capable of both long-range planning and immediate correction. The lookout reported sails on the horizon, a faint shimmer against the early light. Your pulse quickened subtly, not from fear, but from the disciplined alertness that defined naval command. You scanned through the telescope, estimating distance and likely identity. The officer of the watch suggested possibilities: fishing vessels, a small convoy, or perhaps an enemy frigate. Every potential encounter carried weight. A misjudgment could endanger the ship, your mission, and your crew. You instructed careful maneuvering, adjusting sails to maintain optimal speed while reducing exposure. The men responded with practiced efficiency, their confidence reflecting your leadership. You reviewed contingencies mentally. Should the contact prove hostile, what maneuvers would minimize risk? Should they be friendly, how to signal correctly to avoid misidentification? In these moments, the interplay of observation, calculation, and decisive action crystallized the essence of command. Approaching noon, you conducted a thorough inspection of the gunnery deck. Cannons were swabbed and primed, powder stored in dry, secure lockers. The gun crews drilled silently, performing loading and firing sequences with precision. Even in the absence of immediate threat, you understood that readiness was not optional. Warships demanded constant preparedness. The enemy might appear at any moment, and hesitation could prove fatal. Your inspection extended to small details: lashings tightened, shots secured, implements in proper order. Each adjustment demonstrated authority but also reinforced habit and confidence among the men. Discipline, you reflected, was not only about punishment or oversight but about cultivating automatic competence through repetition, ensuring that each hand knew instinctively how to act when crisis arrived. A sudden shift in the wind required immediate adjustment. You issued orders to reef the topsails partially, preventing excessive strain on the yards while maintaining momentum. Sailors scrambled along the rigging with the practiced agility of men who had lived their entire adult lives on the deck of a ship. Commands flew rapidly: belay that line, ease the braces, steady on the helm. The coordination between deck officers, helmsmen, and sail teams showcased a microcosm of order imposed on natural chaos. You observed closely, noting which sailors needed further training and which officers anticipated potential problems effectively. The sea, indifferent to human effort, reminded all aboard that mastery was temporary, vigilance permanent. By afternoon, the wind steadied, allowing steady progress toward the rendezvous point with Blackwood Squadron. You called a brief assembly on the quarterdeck to review strategy and assign watch rotations. Officers discussed signals and expected contingencies, while you emphasized the importance of both initiative and adherence to orders. This delicate balance, between obedience and independent judgment, was a constant challenge in squadron operations. Even the most competent subordinates could misinterpret instructions, yet too rigid a structure could suppress their initiative. Cochran had mastered this equilibrium, ensuring that crews were disciplined enough to act predictably but flexible enough to respond intelligently to unexpected circumstances. Observing your officers, you noted those who could be trusted implicitly and those requiring more oversight. Late afternoon brought a distant squall, visible as a dark line on the horizon. You ordered preparation: sails reefed, hatches secured, and men stationed at key points. The first lieutenant coordinated the deck, ensuring readiness without panic. The crew responded with quiet efficiency, the result of both training and respect for your authority. The approaching weather required rapid calculation: how to minimize risk while maintaining position, how to balance speed against potential damage. Every decision was a test of judgment and experience, a combination of learned skill and instinctual understanding of wind, wave, and vessel. You felt the familiar tension that accompanied these moments, the simultaneous excitement and burden of responsibility. As the squall advanced, rain began to fall in sheets, soaking the deck and washing salt over rigging. Visibility decreased, requiring closer monitoring of the horizon and careful attention to signals from distant vessels. Sailors shouted orders, lines were adjusted, and the ship rolled gently yet persistently under the combined force of wind and waves. Your position on the quarterdeck allowed a full view of operations, your orders precise and continuous. The storm tested the crew's coordination, the vessel's integrity, and your command simultaneously. Every adjustment reinforced the lesson that control was always provisional, dependent on constant observation, rapid decision-making, and the disciplined execution of orders. Night approached in the aftermath of the storm, leaving a wet but steady sea. Lanterns were lit along the deck to guide men safely through the darkness. The crew, having completed emergency sail adjustments, returned to routine watches, though now with heightened alertness. You walked the deck, inspecting lines, rigging, and the secured cannons. Each detail mattered. A mislaid halyard, a loose gun, or an unheeded warning could have catastrophic consequences. Beyond physical oversight, you considered morale. The storm's stress required reassurance and clear communication. Authority, you recognized, was reinforced by competence, presence, and the ability to maintain calm under pressure. Even minor gestures, a nod, or a concise acknowledgement fostered confidence among the crew. By early morning, the Mediterranean calmed, leaving a sparkling expanse of blue punctuated by gentle swells. The crew was engaged in drying sails, clearing decks, and attending to minor repairs. You conducted a routine inspection of the galley, noting food stores, water supplies, and ensuring no contamination had occurred during the previous night's storm. Logistics, often overlooked in romantic depictions of naval command, formed the backbone of readiness. Even a well-disciplined crew could be rendered ineffective without sustenance, potable water, and secure stores. The interplay between discipline, practical management, and environmental mastery remained constant, a rhythm as essential as the wind itself. Later that morning, a signal from Blackwood Squadron appeared on the horizon, a small, quickly raised flag indicating a nearby vessel of the fleet. You ordered adjustments to sails to approach and communicate. Crew movements were brisk but careful, reflecting both anticipation and practiced discipline. As the squadron vessel drew nearer, your officers prepared standard recognition signals and reviewed contingencies. Joining a larger formation required precision, patience, and diplomacy. Independent command was replaced, temporarily, by coordinated execution within a hierarchy. You noted the differences in squadron versus solo operations, planning how best to balance initiative with obedience. The successful integration would require careful observation, clear communication, and constant readiness. The squadron vessel drew alongside, and your officers exchanged signals to confirm identity. Sailors worked quickly to adjust course and maintain safe distance while signaling recognition. You observed each maneuver, noting the precision and discipline of your crew in handling these delicate operations. Miscommunication could easily result in collision or diplomatic embarrassment. Once identity was confirmed, your first lieutenant coordinated a close approach for verbal reports. This interaction demonstrated the subtle balance of command in a squadron, respect for seniority, clear communication, and efficient execution, all while maintaining the safety and readiness of your ship. A boarding officer from the squadron vessel arrived to deliver orders from Captain Blackwood. The messages were concise but critical, outlining rendezvous points, patrol zones, and expected engagement protocols. You reviewed the instructions carefully, asking clarifying questions to ensure both understanding and practical feasibility. Orders were then passed to officers for dissemination to crew in terms understandable at every level. Discipline in following orders while retaining situational awareness was a constant emphasis. Errors in interpretation could compromise the entire squadron. You reflected that even the most skillful maneuvers depended on human understanding as much as on wind or sail. After the initial exchange, you spent time inspecting sail conditions and rigging, aware that prolonged deployment under squadron operations would demand near-perfect functionality. The last storm had left minor chafing on some lines, now secured and checked. Officers reported on individual crew readiness, noting fatigue and minor injuries. You made adjustments to watch rotations to maintain efficiency without overburdening any single team. Observing your crew, you appreciated the interplay of training, experience, and morale. Maintaining this equilibrium was as crucial as navigation. A capable but exhausted crew was far less effective than a moderately skilled but well-rested one. By mid-afternoon, the wind shifted, requiring a change of course to maintain station with the squadron. You issued orders to adjust sails gradually, balancing speed with stability. Sailors responded with practiced efficiency, hauling lines and securing yards. You noted those who executed flawlessly and those requiring correction, reinforcing lessons through small, immediate adjustments rather than delay. The dynamic of wind, sea, and squadron coordination demanded constant attention. You reflected that your role was less about personal action and more about creating conditions for your crew to perform optimally. Evening descended with a clear horizon, a welcome relief after recent storms. You reviewed the day's progress with your officers on the quarterdeck. Tactical planning for the following day included patrol patterns, signaling procedures, and contingencies for potential enemy contact. Officers contributed observations, and you weighed each carefully before issuing directives. The discussion reinforced the balance between initiative and obedience that defined effective naval operations. Decisions were recorded in the log, both for accountability and for later reflection. You recognized that these written records were as essential to command as the sails, cannons, and crew. They preserved knowledge and ensured continuity. Night brought calm seas and a cool breeze. Lanterns were lit along the deck, and watch rotations settled into rhythm. You took a brief walk among the men, observing quietly. Small gestures of presence maintained morale without undermining authority. You inspected hatches, rigging, and gun placements, ensuring readiness for any nocturnal developments. Crew members moved efficiently, their familiarity with the ship allowing you to focus on strategic oversight rather than micromanagement. The seamless operation of hundreds of individuals under challenging conditions reflected the success of prior discipline and training, a testament to both your leadership and that of your officers. In the early hours, the lookout reported faint sail shapes on the horizon. Your pulse quickened with disciplined anticipation. You consulted the telescope and directed course adjustments to maintain squadron cohesion while closing for observation. Officers implemented your orders with precise timing, a delicate ballet of wind, canvas, and hulls. You considered possibilities: merchant convoy, enemy vessel, or neutral passage. Each scenario required a different approach, highlighting the constant necessity of tactical flexibility. The balance between vigilance and calm assessment defined these moments. Hasty action could result in disaster, excessive caution in missed opportunity. By mid-morning, the distant sails revealed themselves as a small Spanish convoy. You signaled Blackwood Squadron, coordinating approach without alerting the enemy prematurely. Officers monitored wind shifts and sea currents to optimize positioning. You reviewed potential engagement strategies, considering squadron strength, crew readiness, and environmental factors. Decisions were layered. Whether to engage, pursue, or observe depended on precise timing, environmental awareness, and an understanding of both your crew's capabilities and the enemy's probable reactions. You reflected that the essence of command lay in managing uncertainty with informed judgment. The squadron adjusted formation, and your vessel moved into a supporting position. You coordinated with your first lieutenant to ensure gun readiness and signaling accuracy. Sailors maintained their rhythm despite heightened tension, their training evident in every motion. You reviewed contingencies, possible evasive actions if the enemy altered course, procedures for capturing or disabling merchant vessels, and safe return protocols. Each potential outcome carried risk, yet indecision was more dangerous than carefully calculated action. Your mind balanced probability with practicality, weighing the cost of engagement against expected gains, embodying the constant strategic calculation central to naval command. By late afternoon, the convoy altered its course, likely unaware of your presence. You prepared signals to communicate with Blackwood, coordinating interception while remaining tactically discreet. Officers executed orders with exacting precision, adjusting sail and helm as conditions shifted. You reflected on the cumulative experience required for such operations: mastery of navigation, signaling, sail handling, and human coordination. Even the most minute error could result in failure. The crew's competence allowed you to focus on strategy, yet the responsibility for outcomes, success, or failure remained firmly upon your shoulders. Nightfall settled over the sea, the Spanish convoy still unaware of the squadron's presence. You convened with your officers to review engagement options, considering visibility, wind, and your ship's position within the formation. Tactical discussion balanced aggressive pursuit against prudent caution. A single miscalculation could expose the squadron to unnecessary risk. Your officers offered observations drawn from experience, which you weighed carefully before issuing orders. Clear communication ensured each department understood its responsibilities, from gun crews to sail handlers, emphasizing cohesion and anticipation. The crew's night watch began, lanterns casting long shadows across the deck. You moved quietly, observing the men, checking rigging, and ensuring all duties were performed without interference in their rhythm. The gentle sway of the ship served as a constant reminder of the environment's unpredictability. Even in relative calm, attention to detail was essential. A neglected rope or misread signal could have cascading consequences. Your presence reinforced vigilance while maintaining calm, demonstrating the subtle art of leadership through observation rather than interference. Midnight brought a faint signal from the lookout. Masts silhouetted against the horizon, closer than previously expected. You assessed position using compass bearings and charts, coordinating with the first lieutenant to adjust course without disturbing the convoy. Officers relayed instructions down the line efficiently, and sailors responded with practiced dexterity. The precision of the operation underlined your reliance on disciplined execution, trust in your crew, and confidence in your strategic judgment. Each minor adjustment contributed to the broader objective, positioning for potential engagement at dawn. As the first light of morning broke, the convoy's identity became clear. You confirmed several armed escorts accompanying the merchant ships. Calculating risk, you sent coded signals to Blackwood Squadron, detailing the convoy's speed, direction, and likely intentions. Officers prepared for possible combat, ensuring that guns were manned, powder magazines secured, and sails optimally positioned. You considered the balance between capture, deterrence, and avoidance of unnecessary confrontation, the decision-making process honed through years of operational experience. The squadron adjusted formation in response to your observations. You monitored wind conditions and tidal currents, providing precise guidance to officers to maintain optimal speed and positioning. Sailors moved methodically, adjusting yards and sheets, demonstrating the discipline required for large-scale maneuvers. You noted individual performances, commending exceptional work while correcting lapses. Maintaining morale and readiness under tension was as critical as tactical planning, ensuring that each man understood both his role and the broader strategic objective. Mid-morning brought a change in wind direction, forcing recalibration of your approach. You consulted charts and depth soundings, instructing officers to alter sail trim and course incrementally. Coordination within the squadron was vital. Misaligned maneuvers could disrupt the entire interception plan. You reflected that success depended on more than firepower. Timing, environment, and communication were equally decisive. Each officer's judgment was tested, and your leadership served as the guiding framework, ensuring initiative complemented rather than conflicted with overall strategy. By midday, you were within visual range of the convoy. Orders were transmitted for a coordinated advance, emphasizing stealth and minimal exposure. Sailors prepared the guns but refrained from aggressive posturing to avoid alerting the enemy prematurely. You considered the psychological dimension. A carefully measured approach could compel surrender without combat, preserving lives and resources. Discipline and control under pressure were hallmarks of effective command, requiring constant vigilance and careful management of both men and ship. Afternoon sunlight glinted on the convoy's hulls, revealing minor discrepancies in formation and readiness. You relayed observations to Blackwood Squadron via signals, ensuring accurate situational awareness. Officers implemented your adjustments, coordinating maneuvers with precision. You reflected on the delicate balance of initiative and obedience in squadron operations. Too much autonomy could jeopardize cohesion, while excessive control could suppress tactical opportunity. Leadership required the constant modulation of authority and trust. A sudden shift in wind caused a brief scramble among the crew to adjust sails and maintain position. You observed calmly, issuing precise corrections without panic. Sailors executed with efficiency, and the squadron maintained its intended formation. This small episode reinforced the importance of readiness, anticipation, and calm under pressure. Minor disruptions could cascade into disaster if handled poorly, but disciplined response allowed continued strategic advantage. Your focus remained on positioning for optimal engagement at first light the next day. Evening fell with the squadron holding position just out of range of the convoy. You convened a tactical briefing on the quarterdeck, reviewing possible engagement scenarios and assigning specific responsibilities to each officer. Considerations included timing, approach angle, potential losses, and contingency measures. You emphasized the importance of discipline, initiative within bounds, and communication. Officers absorbed your instructions, clarifying points as necessary. Clear, detailed planning underpinned effective execution, allowing the squadron to operate as a cohesive and flexible unit. Nightfall returned, bringing both darkness and opportunity. You stationed extra lookouts along the masts, ensuring no movement from the convoy went unnoticed. Orders were repeated verbally and in writing to all officers, reinforcing situational awareness and responsibilities. The crew moved quietly, accustomed to these nocturnal preparations, while your mind calculated the optimal approach for first light. Every minor decision, positioning of sails, timing of signals, rotation of watches, was scrutinized, for even a trivial error could compromise the interception. A sudden squall tested your ship's readiness. Rain lashed the deck, and the wind threatened to overwhelm unprepared sails. You coordinated immediate adjustments with officers, issuing calm, precise orders. Sailors scrambled along the yards and ratlins, executing commands under pressure. The effectiveness of your crew's response demonstrated the importance of routine drills and prior training. As captain, you noted both successes and weaknesses, committing lessons to memory for future operations. Discipline, preparation, and presence of mind were continually reinforced. The convoy remained unaware of your presence, providing the squadron with a crucial advantage. You conferred with Blackwood via signal flags, refining approach plans and allocating targets for capture. Officers relayed your instructions to gun crews and sail teams, ensuring synchronized action. You balanced aggression with prudence, mindful that an overly hasty strike could alert enemy escorts and provoke resistance. Patience, tactical foresight, and measured initiative were central to maintaining strategic upper hand. Midnight passed uneventfully, the squadron holding stealthy positions. You patrolled the quarterdeck, inspecting stations and silently observing men at their posts. The gentle creak of the timbers and the rhythmic slap of waves reminded you of the ship's vulnerabilities. A captain's responsibility extended beyond combat, preventing accidents, maintaining morale, and ensuring every sailor remained vigilant. Even in absence of immediate danger, constant oversight shaped the ship's effectiveness. Early morning light revealed subtle weaknesses in the convoy's formation. You took note, communicating adjustments to your officers. The plan was revised slightly, positioning for a diagonal intercept that would maximize leverage while minimizing exposure to escort fire. Coordination with Blackwood Squadron was precise. Every ship's position, sail configuration, and gun readiness was accounted for. The anticipation of engagement reinforced the importance of observation, preparation, and proactive thinking in achieving tactical advantage. The squadron maneuvered carefully, holding just beyond cannon range while closing the distance. You ensured that each officer understood both their role and the broader context of the attack. Sailors moved methodically, adjusting sails and maintaining quiet discipline. Communication was paramount. A single misread signal could disrupt the delicate timing necessary for effective engagement. Every decision reflected both experience and foresight, with contingency plans ready should the unexpected occur. Your officers reported minor adjustments in wind direction that threatened to alter the interception. You immediately recalculated approach vectors and issued precise corrections. Crew responded with efficiency, demonstrating trust in your leadership and their own skills. The dynamic environment required constant attention, No detail was too small when hundreds of lives and valuable ships depended on your judgment. Even subtle errors could cascade into disaster, so careful monitoring and decisive correction were routine. As mid-morning approached, the convoy began to detect the squadron's presence. You adjusted sail trim and signaled to Blackwood Squadron, preparing for a coordinated advance. Officers prepared gun crews while ensuring sails were optimized for speed and maneuverability. You balanced the need for surprise with the imperative of readiness, understanding that timing and coordination would determine whether capture was achieved with minimal conflict or devolved into a costly skirmish. The first exchanges occurred at range, with warning shots fired to test enemy response. Your orders emphasized restraint and accuracy, aiming to coerce rather than provoke full engagement prematurely. Sailors responded to commands with practiced skill, managing both gunnery and sail adjustments. You observed closely, noting both successes and areas requiring improvement. Maintaining discipline and calm under pressure reinforced your authority while ensuring operational effectiveness. By late morning, the convoy began to scatter, revealing gaps in escort coverage. You seized the opportunity, directing the squadron to isolate the most vulnerable vessels. Coordination with officers was flawless, ensuring that no ship drifted out of position. Sailors responded to every signal without hesitation, reflecting the cohesion achieved through rigorous training and confident leadership. You weighed the risks and benefits of pressing the attack versus consolidating gains, exemplifying the constant strategic judgment demanded of a captain at sea. The afternoon sun glared off the water as you directed the squadron to tighten its formation. Sailors labored to maintain optimal sail angles, adjusting rigging to capture every gust of wind. You monitored every movement from the quarterdeck, issuing orders that balanced aggression with prudence. Officers relayed commands, their precise execution demonstrating both discipline and confidence. Even minor delays in response could allow the convoy to regroup, so attention to timing remained paramount. A lone enemy frigate attempted to flee, breaking from the main body. You immediately signaled pursuit, assigning one of Blackwood's ships to intercept while retaining your vessel for overall command. Officers acknowledged, preparing sail and coordinating with gun crews to ensure the frigate would be forced into surrender without unnecessary risk. Every action reflected the delicate interplay of initiative, delegation, and tactical oversight essential for effective leadership at sea. As your ship closed on the target, the crew prepared boarding parties, inspecting cutlasses, pistols, and pistols while ensuring small boats were ready. You oversaw every detail, aware that successful capture required both courage and meticulous planning. Officers confirmed readiness, maintaining calm among sailors despite the looming confrontation. The balance between preparation and restraint was delicate. Too much hesitation allowed escape, too little risked casualties. The enemy frigate, recognizing its isolation, displayed signs of surrender. You hailed the vessel, issuing clear commands for lowering its colors. Officers guided sailors to secure the rigging for boarding. The capture unfolded with minimal violence, a testament to precise planning and effective command. As captain, you acknowledged the crew's discipline and quick response, understanding that success depended as much on coordination as on firepower. Once the frigate was secured, you directed a careful search of the vessel, ensuring weapons were accounted for and prisoners properly managed. Officers supervised the transfer of prisoners and inspection of cargo. Sailors executed orders with efficiency, reflecting training and confidence in leadership. You documented the capture meticulously in the ship's log, aware that accurate records were essential for prize adjudication and future operational analysis. After the immediate action, attention returned to navigation and maintaining formation with the squadron. Officers reported on the condition of both your ship and the captured vessel, noting minor damage and necessary repairs. Sailors worked diligently to make fast the new prize and adjust sails for optimal speed. The continuous cycle of action, assessment, and adjustment reinforced the constant vigilance required for successful operations. You took a moment to confer with Blackwood, reviewing reports and coordinating next moves. The squadron's cohesion and the readiness of each ship were assessed. You emphasized maintaining flexibility while adhering to overall strategy, ensuring subordinate captains understood both objectives and their operational limits. Leadership in this context required clarity of purpose and careful delegation, allowing initiative while preserving control over outcomes. Evening approached, and you ordered the squadron to reduce sail as darkness fell, maintaining position relative to the convoy. Officers confirmed that all crews were on watch, navigating the treacherous currents with minimal visibility. Sailors adapted quickly to night procedures, guided by training and prior drills. You remained on the quarterdeck, alert to both environmental changes and potential enemy movements, a continuous balancing of vigilance and endurance. Night deepened, and you convened a brief meeting with officers to assess the day's operations. Tactics were reviewed, successes and mistakes discussed, and adjustments recommended for future engagements. Your approach combined direct oversight with respect for subordinate expertise, encouraging honest feedback while retaining ultimate authority. This balance of discipline, consultation, and foresight was central to effective command. By midnight, the squadron held steady in its formation, weathering light squalls and shifting winds. You patrolled the quarterdeck, inspecting posts and ensuring that alertness remained high. The crew moved silently, executing routine tasks without prompting. As captain, you reflected on the complexity of leadership, simultaneously managing personnel, strategy, logistics, and environmental uncertainty. Every decision, no matter how small, carried consequences for both ship and crew. The first light of dawn revealed a calm sea, but you remained vigilant. Officers reported minor shifts in the wind and adjusted sails accordingly. You observed the horizon, calculating speed and course to ensure the squadron maintained formation. Even in moments of apparent tranquility, anticipation of sudden changes guided every decision, reflecting the constant alertness demanded of a naval captain. A distant sail appeared on the horizon, prompting immediate assessment. You considered its bearing, size, and probable intentions. Orders were relayed to prepare signal flags and adjust lookout positions. The squadron responded efficiently, a testament to prior drills and the discipline instilled under your command. Every sailor understood the stakes, each action blending routine with readiness for sudden engagement. As the vessel drew nearer, it became clear to your officers that it was a neutral merchant ship. You decided on cautious interception, signaling for it to heave to for inspection. Officers readied boarding parties, while you considered the broader strategic implications. Even minor encounters required careful judgment. A misstep could provoke conflict or miss a valuable prize. Leadership demanded a balance of prudence, decisiveness, and foresight. The merchant ship complied, and a boarding officer reported on its cargo. You inspected records and goods personally, ensuring accuracy for both prize adjudication and strategic intelligence. Officers noted the ship's condition and the crew's behavior. Every inspection reinforced discipline, accountability, and the integration of tactical, operational, and administrative responsibilities that defined command. With the merchant vessel secured and sent under escort to a friendly port, you resumed the squadron's primary course. Officers adjusted sails and monitored navigation instruments, while sailors managed routine maintenance. Your attention shifted between immediate tactical concerns and the broader operational picture. Effective leadership required simultaneous focus on minute details and strategic objectives, a duality that defined your daily responsibilities. The afternoon brought increasing wind, testing the seamanship of the squadron. You ordered reefing of topsails and monitored the crew's execution. Officers reported readiness at each station, while sailors responded with practiced skill. Every maneuver emphasized the interdependence of command, communication, and execution. Even small errors could cascade into critical failures, reinforcing the importance of discipline and coordination. A minor collision between two vessels of the squadron occurred, fortunately causing only superficial damage. You quickly directed corrective actions, demonstrating calm authority while delegating responsibility for repairs. Officers coordinated with their crews to secure rigging and check for hull integrity. This incident, though minor, highlighted the continuous demands of situational awareness and prompt, decisive intervention at sea. As evening fell, you convened your officers to review the day's progress. Reports were exchanged on navigation, crew performance, and the status of each ship. Adjustments to course and tactics were discussed, ensuring that the squadron remained cohesive and effective. Your leadership balanced authority with consultation, maintaining control while fostering initiative among subordinate captains. Night watch commenced, and you inspected key stations. Sailors moved quietly but efficiently, carrying out routine tasks and maintaining alertness. Officers confirmed the readiness of the main deck, rigging, and guns. The quiet of the night emphasized the subtle tensions of command, unseen threats, potential hazards, and the ever-present responsibility for hundreds of lives resting on your judgment and foresight. At the midnight hour, the squadron held steady under a clear sky. You stood alone on the quarterdeck, observing the stars and the faint movements of distant vessels. The weight of command settled upon you, a paradox of power and responsibility. Every decision, from minor adjustments to major maneuvers, affected both ship and crew. The sea remained indifferent, yet your vigilance ensured survival and success. In this stillness, you reflected on the culmination of experience, judgment, and leadership required to guide a squadron through uncertainty, an enduring testament to the responsibilities of a captain in the age of sail. As our journey with the captain concludes, we are reminded that the age of sail was more than battles and prizes. It was a test of courage, judgment, and endurance, qualities that define not just men, but the leaders who shaped their world. In watching his triumphs and trials, we glimpse the timeless demands of responsibility, the weight of command, the consequences of choice, and the delicate balance between authority and humanity. Though the wooden walls of his ship have long vanished, the lessons of diligence, foresight, and moral courage remain, echoing across the centuries. May we carry forward the spirit of those who faced the storms of their era with resolve, insight, and honor.